There's a pretty one, Ulysses. There it is.
Hello BookTube, I'm Shawn the Book Maniac. Welcome back to my channel. Here I am with a book review of a new memoir called Unicorn, The Memoirs of a Muslim Drag Queen by Amrou Al-Kadhi. Just published like last month or something, hot off the press, late 2019 publication. I loved it. I give it 4 stars. The highest compliment I know how to pay to this memoir is that I don't like memoir. I don't read memoir, and it was a 4-star read for me. So those of you that like reading memoir, you must bail on what you're reading now and go directly to this memoir because it's really something special. Amrou Al-Kadhi identifies as gender non-binary, so I will be using the appropriate pronoun, and they live in the UK and they are of Iraqi descent. I believe both parents came from Iraq. And I believe Amrou themselves grew up, part of their childhood was in Bahrain, but mostly in the UK. Al-Kadhi describes what it's like to grow up as an effeminate, queer person in a Muslim household in Britain, and I was just transfixed by the story. By the way, I did this on audio. It's narrated by Al-Kadhi themselves, and it's masterful, so consider doing it on audio. I would like to get to the book now and read it again later because it has immediately become an important book that I need on my queer shelf for future reference. The coming out stuff, the stuff about the relationship with their parents was particularly powerful. I related to quite a bit of it. In the introduction, Amrou talks about being a drag performer and coming out on stage in some bar somewhere in the UK and performing under their stage name, Glamrou. Their real name is Amrou. Their stage name is Glamrou. How fabulous is that? And Glamrou notices 3 Muslim women in the audience, and he recognizes them as being Muslim because one of them is wearing a niqab, if I'm remembering correctly, and they are all veiled or wearing traditional Muslim garb. And Amrou is triggered all to shit by this, and their relationship with their own mother floods their consciousness, and he just is paralyzed. But Amrou is able to deliver their performance, and then those 3 women approach Amrou, and that conversation, I'm speechless. It was so beautiful. I struggle with memoir, especially modern memoir. It just feels obviously memoir is about me, the writer, but I have trouble connecting with it because of that. And I struggled with a few parts of this because of my prejudice against the genre. But I don't really want to say any more than that because this beautiful true story of Amrou and Glamrou pulled me through a lot of my prejudice. I cringed just a little bit at some of the overly psychologized vocabulary, self-help stuff that popped up now and again, and also queer theory notions of the self and the splintered self, but not nearly as much as I expected because I also fell in love with Amrou Al-Kadhi and Glamrou. And I just loved this story. It's such an important story. There is a term that I don't like, even though I totally get the meaning of it and how important it is, and that is intersectionality. I'm too old. It has too many syllables. It's such an important concept. I get it. It's so important. Can't we come up with a better word that rolls trippingly off the tongue? I don't have any ideas. Do you? Anyway, Amrou explores intersectionality in this novel, in the stories that they tell. And one of the ones that I will never forget is Amrou is at Eton College as a teenager. They're in boarding school. And hey, this is Editing Shawn, and I'm an old geezer. It's not that I'm too old to learn, but a little bit slow on the uptake, so I noticed 3 pronoun mistakes in about 15 seconds. I apologize. I'm going to redo it and overlay it here. Amrou fabricates how their parents are overly traditional and too Muslim, catering to the basest stereotypes that their white British classmates have about what it might be like to be Muslim as a way of trying to connect with their peers. And that was one of many heartbreaking scenes to read. I mean, it's just, wow. I don't know what else to say. You should try this book. And I'm going to give you a sample of a passage that will hopefully whet your appetite. But just before, one other thing that I thought, Amrou comes to some sense of reconciliation with their Islamic faith. And I thought it was just a little bit too pat and maybe needed another chapter to explore that journey more. But I also know that this talented individual will be writing many more books in the future, and I will read them. So here is one of my favorite passages, and this is about the first time Amrou does drag. Seeing my reflection in drag for the very first time was an uncanny kind of reunion. An introduction to a person I had always had inside me, yet had somehow always missed. I recognized the person in the mirror more than I had ever recognized my own image, experiencing the same fuzzy harmony as when I first gazed into a formless marine aquarium. Again, my gender dysphoria was suddenly appeased, and here in front of me was a true manifestation of my internal self. It was time for everyone to meet her. As soon as there was an audience, I interacted with them as my drag character, Glamrou, an overly confident and acerbic queen who says the things that nobody else dares to. As people took their seats, the floor of a low-ceilinged cave, I lap-danced those who were willing, with the sexual litheness of a lemur and the confidence of a peacock. One of the things that I've come to find interesting about being in drag is that once you're dressed and made up, you so rarely see yourself in drag, unless your outfit involves some kind of reflective device. As a result, your image belongs more to the people who are viewing you, and you start to perceive yourself in how you are being perceived in the eyes gazing at you. That night, the eyes of everyone I spoke to seemed bewitched by the confidence of the queen in their presence, with no knowledge of the sorrowing mess she had been just moments before the doors opened. You can find lots of video about Glamrou and Amrou on YouTube, and you will notice that almost every video about them has as many, if not more, downvotes as upvotes. So, one more reason to love, respect, and cheer for this fabulous person. Try the memoir. Do it on audio. Do it in heels. Just try it. Thanks for watching.